Welcome everyone to the Crypto Vakil show. Today we have with us Mr. L. Badri Narayanan. He is the executive partner at Lakshmikumaran and Sridharan attorneys, a tax and corporate law firm with offices in multiple cities. Badri advises clients on various tech and related issues across jurisdictions, including India and USA. He also focuses his time on crypto and blockchain related matters. Badri, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Jay. Very nice. Thank you for inviting me.
Crypto is probably one of the hottest topics of discussion right now in the country, with the Prime Minister himself also speaking about it recently. And there is a lot of debate on the proposed new legislation, obviously, that the government is trying to bring, but also on the tax treatment of cryptocurrencies or crypto coins or crypto assets. Nobody knows what to call them or how to classify them really. So, and there is a view now that sort of a consensus is emerging that it's definitely not a currency, it's not fiat money, but it could be some sort of a asset, whether commodity, equity, stock, nobody knows. So, my question to you is currently, if someone is trading or dealing in cryptocurrencies, how does one pay tax on it? How does one pay income tax? What's the tax treatment on profits or gains out of it?
Thank you for that. I think, like you said, let's kind of break this down a little bit one by one. Okay. Very complex area. Okay. And I don't think our legislatures and all kind of really provided for something which is like this, right? So, first, like you said very nicely and clearly, that it is not legal tender. It's not fiat money. Okay. Very clearly, the RBI, very clearly, other bodies have come out and said very clearly this is not at the same par as being able to use that. So, really, I think with that comes an inherent restriction that it's not really to be used for purchasing goods and services. The government is quite comfortable for it to be used as an investment device where there is an exchange and you're using this for the purpose of being able to purchase and sell almost like a security. But it's not going to be something which we will treat for the purpose of legal tender, which is for purchasing and selling of goods and services. That's the first thing that we need to kind of get our heads around this. Okay. Second is, what is this really if it is not legal tender, right? So is it service? Is it goods? Is it an asset? What sort of nature is that? So when we looked at this little carefully and closely, and again, this is not the final word on any of this, we felt that it has various aspects to treat it as goods, and it's very important to kind of get to that position. It's something which can be bought and sold. Okay, it's a digital asset. It's intangible in nature, but the definition of goods is very very wide, both in the Sale of Goods Act as also under our Constitution and under various other regulations. So if you look at Transfer Property Act, you look at Sale of Goods Act, you look at the Constitution, you look at the Goods and Services Tax Act, you'll find that the scope of goods is fairly wide and it's something which can come under that category. So once it is goods and not legal tender, then it kind of has got various connotations, right? So first and foremost, the next big question is whether it is nature of a security, okay? Because today it's really traded like a security on the exchanges, okay? And whether it's something which is going to provide, whether it will fulfill some of those conditions, we are not very sure that it fulfills all the conditions, though it's today taking on the kind of a role of a security. But what really, according to me, it's a digital, intangible goods, which is the nature of an asset, which can be traded on an exchange like a commodity or a commodity exchange, and something which basically is an investment device or those of being able to do so. So now coming to your question, if this is what it is, then when I purchase and sell, what should be the tax treatment with respect to this? I think clearly capital gains will be applicable on this, especially if you're going to treat it as investment. My own sense is today, apart from investment, there's little use that Indians can put this to use because it's not legal tender. Okay, and if it is investment, then I know there's a short-term and long-term capital gains applicable on purchase and sale of assets. And the real thing would be there's already a value which has been attached with respect to that. So I think that's really how this area will get taxed in the long run from an income tax perspective.
And there were reports that government is looking at amending this definition also, to include crypto specifically under the Income Tax Act. What is your sense on what this amendment is going to be? Is it going to be continued to be taxed as capital gains, or will it be under some other class?
I don't know. I think that's something that there is a lot of debate. As you know, crypto is still very, very new.
Yeah.
And there are multiple theories around this. So one thing is clearly the government is concerned and wants to regulate it. And there's going to be multiple amendments in different laws for the purpose of being able to handle this. So I think when you look at crypto, there are going to be some interesting amendments that are going to come through. Okay, there may be gross-based taxation like we have in gaming. It could be taxation which is going to be capital gains like thing, or it could be treated as business income and taxed in that manner. So all of these different options are likely to occur with respect to this.
So we'll have to wait for the fine print in the upcoming session or two.
I think over the next few months we will see some interesting developments in this space. I think we should keep track of that.
Right. And on the indirect taxes front, crypto exchanges, how is the GST treatment of exchanges? Probably as an individual, there won't be GST liability unless there is a threshold and other requirements. But from a crypto exchange perspective, what would be the GST treatment? And probably there is a thought process to include another transaction tax of sorts on cryptocurrencies as well.
I think there is a gap in the law with respect to GST when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Once it is goods and it's digital in nature, okay, I don't see it falling under any entry in the GST tariff. So that poses a problem from the perspective of GST. So I think that's one gray area which is there. So how to discharge this tax and on what to be taxed is something which is there. What people are required to pay tax, especially, is on the commission that they earn with respect to GST. I think that's one area where there are some disputes with respect to whether it is buy sell and therefore it is, or is it merely a platform fee or a commission fee which is being raised from that. That of course will be a service fee and then will be taxed. I think, like I said, there will be some regulations specific to cryptocurrency, just like we have with respect to foreign exchange. This thing. So there used to be a lot of issues when we used to sell rupees and get dollars. Okay, there used to be a difference between the buy rate and the sell rate, and the difference between the buy rate and sell rate effectively is the commission that the person wants, and that's the money on which they used to charge the amount. So are they going to have something similar? The purpose of being able to tax crypto exchanges is something that we will need to see. But yeah, there is a lot of grayness when it comes to GST and cryptocurrency at the moment.
And that will also be probably resolved in the legislation or series of legislations that the government is planning.
Yeah. So the way I think it will work is there will be investigations. Once investigations conclude, there will be some show cause notices, and then the government or the tax research units, other people will kind of take note of that, and then there will be an amendment to kind of cover that. I think the initial show cause notice will be weak, but it will give data for people to be able to process that and then kind of come back. That's really how I see.
There will be a lot of litigation on this aspect.
I expect litigation in cryptocurrency on GST and income tax.
Right. And another question that people were asking is, as crypto traders or someone who holds cryptocurrencies and buys and sells them, what kind of documentation would be required for purposes of paying your taxes, particularly income tax?
I'm very worried about that. Okay, because I think a few things. One is I'm not sure how some of the people are acquiring the cryptocurrencies. I understand that many of these cryptocurrencies are purchased abroad and brought into India. I think first thing is the basic KYC, that from whom you purchased, what's amount that you purchased, and a PAN card or details with respect to that. Today, we are not capturing any of that because it is between individual to individual. We are just letting it go, and then the exchange is basically a kind of guaranteeing that these are fair ones to do so. But I think from an income tax perspective, like you said, any amounts above a certain number, PAN card details will require some basic KYC. Is there an agreement, post facto agreement, or some kind of a receipt which basically shows that this has been purchased, and then some information with respect to whom you have onward sold this to. I think that information we may require for the traders to be able to satisfy their income tax requirements.
Another issue, there are a long list of issues pertaining to cryptocurrencies because no one really knows, there's so much ambiguity. And there was this trend, NRIs or people abroad sending money to their relatives or others in India through cryptocurrency. Do you think that is permitted under FEMA or there will be issues of these sort of remittance?
No, I think there's definitely some issues with respect to it. So let's kind of break this down one by one. Okay. So current account transactions under FEMA are freely allowed.
Right.
Okay. So any transaction which is of a sale and purchase of goods, including cryptocurrencies, freely allowed. But there is for an individual to be able to send money out for those of purchasing cryptocurrency or for him to receive, there are LRS regulations that you need to keep track of. My own understanding is that based on talking to banks, as also some CEOs and some senior people in crypto companies, is that the banks don't allow LRS when you go and tell them I want to do it for the purpose of purchasing cryptocurrency. So that is one big issue. So typically people are sending LRS or remittances outside India for other purposes and then receiving crypto in exchange for that. So that's one thing which is happening. But technically speaking, current account transactions, crypto should not be a problem. The real problem, however, comes is when you are going to purchase crypto or keep it outside, or there is a gift which is coming off crypto, how those things will have to be taken account, or other assets that you kept outside India, okay, which are not likely to come back to India, which makes it capital account transaction. So those are areas where it's still quite grey with respect to that. But I feel like again, RBI is looking at this, and there will be some regulations around this in the future.
And so these exchange, RBI governor had also himself raised grave concerns about these issues and said that this free flow of money to across boundaries is what is creating a problem. So I don't know whether it will probably this exchange. There will be some exchange control regulations preventing free flow of transactions in cryptocurrencies.
So typically the way you do it is that you kind of start putting in place KYC requirements or some regulatory things. So for example, if you remember how this happened in e-commerce, Alibaba Express used to send goods to India. You could go online, purchase, and then they would send it as a gift to you, and they would not pay any custom duty when it used to get cleared. So over time, the government recognized it and put in place certain procedures at the customs border. Of course, it's physical asset, much easier to do so. But I think over time they'll figure out under RBI or under various authorities how to kind of make sure that they're able to track the transactions between people when it comes to crypto. I think that there will be some kind of a disclosure requirement, and if you don't disclose, then there could be penalty if it is found with all of that. So I think that's how they will kind of start off with, and then they will kind of regulate it in a particular manner.
An FDI in the crypto and blockchain space, what's the position?
I don't see in the crypto space FDI coming anytime soon. I think expressly SEBI has been telling the funds not to invest in this space. I think so, and I think there are concerns from an FDI perspective from this. I don't expect it to be readily allowed, at least in the near future in this space. I think we should be mentally prepared for that. Okay, and with regard to general investments and this thing, yes, I think local investments will happen, exchanges will come up, all of this, but always they should be mentally ready for more extensive regulations in this space going forward.
And on the new crypto legislation that is supposed to come up, what is the thought process that you are gathering, and what is the expectation from the new law?
So there are two distinct houses of thoughts with respect to crypto. There is one which is to completely ban it, Okay,
Do you think
and
that is still a thought process within the government to completely ban?
I think it's lesser as compared to what it was a few years ago. Okay, but I don't think it's eliminated completely. Okay, I think some of the people who are associated with security and things like that, national
RBI
security,
governor, for example, I think is one for complete ban.
complete ban. Of course, because I think the ban for him is less from people being swindled money in India, but more in terms of whether the monetary policy of India will get fundamentally affected
Right.
because of this, right? So today, for example, you cannot buy and sell in dollar in India, right? So you have
Right.
to use Indian rupees to purchase. The minute you have a competing currency in India, there's a big problem for RBI. So I think there's going to be one. So RBI will always be on the side of a complete ban or highly regulated this thing. But I think there's another area, another set of people in the government which feels that there have been so many crypto transactions already done. Instead of banning it and making everything illegal, okay, it's better to kind of make a disclosure based, regulatory based system. I think that's over the last few years. I think that's taken more hold as more and more of this thing. But like I said, you can never be sure because we don't know how some of these things are going to play out in the future.
So we'll still have to wait for the final piece of legislation to be introduced.
Yeah, because when I speak internally to people, I get mixed information. Okay, and with the government, with Prime Minister Modi coming and saying certain things, okay, and other things, we just have to wait for the legislation to come before we look at it. But I do expect, regardless of whatever,
Stringent. There will be stringent regulations.
there will be stringent regulations around it.
And speaking of which, do you think stringent regulations, if it's a complete ban or a stringent regulations, will there be an exodus of investment and entrepreneurs in this space to other countries? Ukraine, Dubai, Singapore, these are the destinations that have been talked about as crypto friendly or blockchain friendly.
Yes, I think we can expect that. Okay, the minute from a, if the environment here is not conducive to cryptocurrency, we will see investments go out of India to other countries. Okay, so I think Singapore, we saw that when last time when cryptocurrency was indirectly banned by RBI by not allowing the banks to process any payment with respect to cryptocurrency. We saw that happen with respect to that. Okay? And I think what we found with respect to that was that people quickly shifted to Singapore and other jurisdictions that are more crypto friendly. We will see that. There will be distinctly jurisdictions which will be crypto friendly, and even if people are doing transactions in India, I think they already have one leg in those jurisdictions as they operate.
Thank you so much for your time, Badri. It was a pleasure speaking to you. We'll be back with another episode. And if you like this conversation, do press the bell icon and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also follow our social media pages given in the link. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, Jay. Bye.